Y'all gonna tell me what y'all recording, bro. Give me your phone, bro. Give me your phone.
Back up, man.
Why you recording me, bro?
It's on trip. Back up.
Oh, you said what? I'm from EC1, I know. Give me your phone, nigga.
Just sit down, man. Sit down. I'll call the ambulance for you. Sit down, man. I'll call the ambulance. Yo, man, follow my voice. You're good. Slow down. Stop. The curb is one step away from you, man. Just sit down.
Are you trying to get in your car, man? Right there. That's your car. That's your car right there. That's your car right there.
Money on my head, bro. Bleed in my eyes.
Here, come here.
All right, sit down. Sit down. We'll help you. We'll sit down, man. Just sit down. Sit down right here.
On another episode of Keeping It Real Gone Wrong, we now find out that pepper spray is being laced with soy. Welcome back, extra beautiful, extra amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski here of WeAreChange.org. And man, oh man, do we have some riveting information to get into today, as of course it looks like we're going through a major cultural shift against the establishment, as there's a lot of big news happening today. In the mainline corporate media establishment, things are getting very real when it comes to people dealing with the true consequences of their nefarious actions against the American people. Just like the man in the beginning of our video, lots of other important geopolitical aspects and details to get into, especially with what's happening in China and Ukraine. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing that we had to partially censor for the making of this video because it's a family-friendly broadcast, you can get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. The video that we started off this broadcast with was, I think, from the First Amendment auditors. I never heard of these guys, but if we could find their YouTube channel, we're definitely going to link it down in the description below. And whether this video is real or not, I have no idea. And who knows? It might be. And if so, it's one of the greatest clips on the internet showing the reality of how usually the biggest tough talkers and bullies are some of the biggest punks in our society. So yeah, that video from its original creators down in the description below. And in related hard-working, honest people who have to deal with bullies who are really punk news, we of course are going through some very big changes in our society, with the government doubling down on their attempts to squash the human free spirit, to tax, to regulate, to control the free flow of humanity and its larger energies, and its ability to peacefully transact with each other. And I think it's fair to say, with the establishment reaching further than they ever have before, asking more, taking more, stealing more from the general public, that there also has been a major pushback against this kind of establishment, which I recently said was captured in the recent political destruction of Liz Cheney, that just had a major significant loss as an incumbent member of Congress, that lost by a whopping 30 plus points to a candidate that is representing themselves as an anti-establishment outsider. Now, even though the corporate media that is financed by very sinister parties is still trying to hold on to Liz Cheney and all of her outdated ideas, her globalism, her corporate welfare, her destruction of people's personal liberties, the micromanaging Karen style of government, we have to understand that her loss signifies a big cultural shift, which is being translated in many different ways, which we're going to get into in just a little bit. But her loss is the first time in 55 years, as Charlie Kirk points out, the first time since 1967 that no members of the Cheney, Clinton, McCain, or Bush family will hold elected political office inside the federal government of the United States. And with their death cult grips of power loosening, a lot of other people who did their bidding, who were described as the minions of the establishment, are also facing a major reality call. This, as today, just moments ago in the making of this video, we found out that Brian Stetler will now be standing in the unemployment line, as his show, Reliable Sources, was just finally officially canceled by CNN. Yes, Brian Stetler and his show, which was representing some of the most unreliable sources, some of the most emotionally manipulative political propaganda in our modern day and age, was finally just ended. And along with him, of course, goes Lubin Tubin, who also just a few days ago officially left the disgraced network that would hire disgraced individuals like Jeffrey Toobin, who of course is famously named after Lubin Tubin for some very seedy, nasty previous behavior that he had, which he was fired, rehired, now he's fired from that network. Now, a lot of people are saying that CNN is making room for Liz Cheney, and whether that's true or not, we don't know, but it is fair to say that CNN is making a large transition in its broadcast, as of course, surprisingly, they're finding out that lying, shilling, and giving out propaganda doesn't really build a lot of trust with the audience. Doesn't really build a large viewership. CNN learned that treating people like idiots, talking down to them, telling them what to think, what to believe, rather than, of course, actually doing journalism, they somehow just learned that that is not a profitable business model, as of course, even staffers inside of that network openly admitted that their main goal was to get Trump out of office. They admitted that their coverage was purely propaganda and predominantly opinions and low IQ emotional manipulation that was elitist and disparaging to the average viewer. Now, their obsession with Trump led to their downfall, as of course their previous CEO, Jeff Zucker, prioritized that at the old network. Now with the new CEO coming in, they're now just finally realizing, hey, it doesn't pay to be a shill. And of course, let's be honest here, almost everyone on the corporate media is a shill, but CNN definitely took the cake when it came to their lunatics and unhinged individuals that were, quote, running their news programs. And of course, many people knew it wasn't news. It was do everything you can to, of course, hurt your political opponents in the favor of another political party. Now, in response to this official news, my official statement is, oof. Other people are throwing out a potato in respects to Brian Stetler. Lots of people are posting memes, as I think the cultural shift that I described a couple days ago, I think, is well underway, as even other alternative online personalities are even admitting to essentially doing the bidding of a political party rather than journalism, which they claim to be doing. This as Sam Harris, and a big online commentator, just admitted that he censored the story of Hunter Biden's laptop in order to help the current president of the United States win political office. Sam Harris even went as far to say that he stood by this decision, and even went as far as to say that Hunter Biden could have had the corpses of children in his basement and, quote, he would have never cared. Once again, perfectly capturing and describing the behavior of sociopathic individuals who crave power rather than actual authenticity, truth, and self-respect. What Sam Harris admitted to here is a major bombshell that should make any one of his viewers, any one of his audience members question everything he puts forward, as of course he admittedly is not telling the truth, is not being honest, because he and his gang want political power. And again, this is why you can't trust anyone. This is why a lot of people have a lot of agendas. This is why a lot of people have no respect for their audience, as of course we here on this independent media broadcast criticized Donald Trump. We didn't have Trump derangement syndrome, but we still called him out when he should have been called out. But we never suppressed stories or covered up stories for some kind of political benefit, since, of course, if you do so, you become no better off than a shill like Brian Stetler. Now, I think it's fair to say what Sam Harris did to himself and his career today could be best described as someone who just gave themselves a vasectomy and then bragged about it on social media, which is the new bizarre trend on TikTok, which in its algorithm is promoting a new trend that looks like it's taken off, as there's dozens of videos of men crying, weeping at the hospital, literally depopulating themselves and then bragging about it on social media, which curates it and promotes it in the algorithm so more people do it.
When he gets a vasectomy for you because you reside in a red state.
Let's go.
In related, what kind of idiot films these types of things? We have the latest footage coming from the Prime Minister of Finland that is releasing video footage of her partying, as of course she is continuing to be accused of going to too many music festivals, spending too much time partying, instead of, being the Prime Minister of Finland. This, as the geopolitical situation in Europe only becomes more embattled, more dangerous for the rest of the world, which we're going to be talking about in just a little bit. But before we do that, we wanted to tell you about LukeUncensored.com, our very own independent media platform where we get to say and do what we want. If you haven't signed up yet to LukeUncensored.com, what are you waiting for? We give you a plethora of amazing offers, amazing things to you that you can only get as members of this quasi-private, secretive, somewhat not really society and community that, of course, is collaborating, building ideas and projects together on our forum. Only available to members. You might see some members in the wild if they're wearing some of our members-only t-shirts, which are only available to people who sign up, who get them at a significant discount. By the way, we're going to be changing our store very soon, and we will be retiring a lot of our older t-shirts, so they won't be available anymore unless you are a member. Then you could get it at cost. Lots of perks, lots of benefits, 3 master classes, a new video almost every single day, one right now, right after this one, specifically on some jarring topics that we can't talk about here on this platform, with some really nasty news that is absolutely too bewildering and crazy. Those topics discussed later on today for a video only for members of LukeUncensored.com. Hope to see you there right after this video. Sign up right now if you haven't for just 50 cents a day. Click the link down in the description below right now. Now, I think it's fair to say that things geopolitically aren't really that stable, just like a lot of the real estate in China, as of course it looks like they're going to be facing a real estate collapse very soon, as of course many houses in China are empty. They were built to artificially spur up GDP numbers, and very soon the Chinese will be facing a financial reckoning. And when empires face financial decline, this becomes more of a dangerous, turbulent situation, since of course a lot of economic downturns are usually met with larger conflicts and wars. Wars that are already raging in the world, especially in Ukraine, a proxy conflict between the West and the East. This as the Chinese government has just announced plans with the Russian government for planned, coordinated war games together. This as the situation in Ukraine gets totally out of hand, especially as fighting has been raging on at a nuclear power plant in Ukraine. The Russians have been using the nuclear power plant for cover. The Ukrainians have admittedly said that they're going to start launching attacks at the Russians there. This as the UN General Secretary just called for an international inspection to be given inside of this very tumultuous area that's literally a nuclear power plant. Now, the Ukrainians are blaming the Russians are blaming the Ukrainians. It's nothing new. It is significant to note that the Ukrainians were the ones that said that they're going to be launching attacks on this nuclear facility, which is absolutely bewildering and dangerous. We are learning that there has been some kind of UN agreement that will try to de-escalate this situation. Will it work? Well, we're going to be keeping a close eye on this situation as well as many others. But fair to say that this is an absolutely stupid situation that doesn't benefit anyone, and the aspirations of politicians for power and influence are becoming far too dangerous. As of course, in my opinion, this entire conflict is absolutely dangerous, it's absolutely stupid, it's absolutely bewildering, and there should be a lot more efforts at de-escalation, peace talks, but we have the opposite of that, and of course the U.S. corporate media, as of course the United States are readying their nuclear forces. Russia is also saber-rattling, saying that their arms are significantly superior to their rivals, which is a very bewildering statement, especially with the larger stalemate that's currently unfolding in Ukraine. This as we're finding out more of Russians' arms depot being hit in Crimea, and the Russians currently making very little significant acquisition of territory inside of that country. What's going to happen here? Well, who knows? This conflict could last 10 years, most likely will, with the way things are going. And with that, the face of possible nuclear annihilation for everyone. Yeah, dumb. Absolutely dumb. And again, my own opinion, my own perspective. If you think I'm wrong, let me know why down in the comment section below. But I surmised the very complex, weird situation in just a soundbite. So again, there's a lot to criticize here. But at the end of the day, I think we should be prioritizing situations that stop the further loss of life. If we could do that, that would be nice. If you could stop giving all the power and authority to politicians, that would be nice. If people would take personal responsibility for themselves, for their health, for their well-being, for their financial success, that would be nice. If the government would stop intervening and stopping people from doing that, that would be nice as well. That's what I believe in. If you agree with that, share this video with your friends and family members, random strangers walking down the street, be like, hey, wake up. Check out wearechange.org. It'll change your paradigm of our current messed up bullcrap of a society that you have to deal with that cheats you out of a fair life and existence. Wearechange.org. Got it? Say it exactly like that. Just out the street. Open your window. No one's there. Doesn't matter. Still scream it. have some fun, let loose. I love you guys. One more video coming your way right after this one on lukeuncensored.com. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.